The schoolyard buzzed with life. Laughter, chatter, and the sound of sneakers scraping on concrete. But in one corner, on a worn wooden bench, a boy sat alone. His head rested on his knees, and his messy hair covered most of his face. No one seemed to notice him, not the teachers or the students running around. Donald Trump stood at a distance, watching the boy. It was his first week at this new school, and while he was still adjusting, something about the boy tugged at him. The boy wasn't crying, but the sadness in his posture was louder than words. "Who's that?" Donald whispered to a classmate beside him. "Oh, that's Sam," the boy replied nonchalantly. "He's weird. Nobody talks to him." Weird. That word didn't sit well with Donald. He glanced back at Sam and saw him tugging on his oversized hoodie, trying to shield himself from the world. The bell rang, and everyone rushed to class, but Donald hesitated. As the crowd disappeared, he made a decision. This wasn't something he could ignore. Little did Donald know, his choice to care would change more than just one life. The next day, Donald looked for Sam in the schoolyard. There he was on the same bench, head down and hands fidgeting with a small worn-out book. Taking a deep breath, Donald walked over. "Hey," he said softly. Sam didn't look up. For a moment, Donald wondered if he should walk away, but something inside him told him to stay. He sat down on the bench, leaving space between them. "What's that you're reading?" Donald asked, trying to sound casual. Sam's fingers stopped moving. He hesitated before lifting the book slightly, revealing the title. It was an old storybook with frayed edges. "I like stories," Donald said, smiling. "They help me escape when things feel heavy." Sam finally looked at him. His eyes were red, as if he hadn't slept in days. "Do they help you?" he whispered, his voice so faint Donald almost missed it. Donald nodded. "Yeah. Do they help you too?" Sam blinked, and for the first time, his lips curved into the smallest hint of a smile. "Sometimes," he replied. That whisper of connection was small, but it felt monumental. The next morning, Donald found a crumpled piece of paper in his locker. Confused, he unfolded it. The handwriting was shaky but clear. "Thank you for sitting with me yesterday. No one's done that before." Sam Donald felt a lump in his throat. He looked around the hallway, wondering if Sam had left the note, but the boy was nowhere in sight. During lunch, Donald spotted Sam in the cafeteria sitting at the farthest table. He wasn't eating, just poking at his food with a plastic fork. Donald grabbed his tray and walked over. "Mind if I join you?" Donald asked, smiling. Sam looked surprised but nodded. As they ate, they didn't talk much, but the silence between them wasn't uncomfortable. Toward the end of lunch, Donald noticed something strange. A group of kids at another table were whispering and pointing at Sam. They laughed, not even trying to hide it. Donald's fists clenched. Sam's face turned red as he stared at his plate. In that moment, Donald knew this wasn't just about sitting with someone. It was about standing up for him, no matter the cost. Donald didn't hesitate. He stood up, walked straight to the table where the kids were whispering, and looked them square in the eye. "Is there a problem?" he asked firmly, his voice steady but loud enough to silence their laughter. The group exchanged nervous glances. "No problem," one of them muttered, looking away. "Good," Donald said, his gaze unwavering. "Then maybe stop acting like there is." He turned back to Sam, who stared at him with wide eyes, his fork frozen midair. As Donald sat down, he gave Sam a reassuring smile. "You don't have to say anything," Donald said, noticing Sam's stunned expression. "But you don't deserve to be treated like that. Ever." Sam's lips trembled, but he didn't say a word. The bell rang, signaling the end of lunch, and as they walked to their classes, Sam whispered, "Thank you." Donald only nodded. Over the next few weeks, their friendship grew stronger. Donald learned that Sam had lost his father a year ago and that his mother was working 2 jobs to make ends meet. Sam carried the weight of his grief and loneliness silently, never expecting anyone to notice. But Donald noticed. He noticed how Sam's smile grew more frequent and how he started talking about things he loved: space, drawing, and his dream of becoming an engineer. One day, Donald brought a small notebook to school and handed it to Sam. "What's this?" Sam asked, flipping through the blank pages. "It's for your sketches," Donald said. "You mentioned you like drawing. I thought you might need a place to keep your ideas." Sam's face lit up, and for the first time, Donald saw what pure joy looked like. "Thank you," Sam said, his voice stronger than it had ever been. As their friendship flourished, something remarkable happened. Other kids started noticing. They saw Donald sitting with Sam at lunch, laughing with him in the hallways and treating him like he mattered. Slowly but surely, the stigma around Sam began to fade. One afternoon, as they played basketball together after school, a few other kids joined in. At first, Sam seemed hesitant, but Donald's encouragement gave him the confidence to stay. By the end of the game, Sam was laughing and high-fiving his teammates like he'd known them for years. That night, Donald received a text from Sam. "I never thought I'd have friends again. Thank you for proving me wrong." Donald smiled, his heart swelling with pride. Months later, at the school's talent show, Sam surprised everyone by stepping on stage with a portfolio of his sketches. He explained how each drawing represented a piece of his journey, his struggles, his dreams, and the people who helped him along the way. When he finished, the entire auditorium erupted in applause. Backstage, Donald hugged him tightly. "I'm proud of you, Sam. You're incredible." Sam smiled through tears. "I wouldn't have done it without you." Donald shook his head. "You always had it in you. I just helped you see it." Years later, as adults, Sam would often tell people about the boy who changed his life. He'd say, "Donald Trump taught me that kindness isn't about grand gestures. It's about noticing someone when no one else does. And sometimes, that's all it takes to change everything." And for Donald, the memory of Sam's first real smile remained a constant reminder of one simple truth: kindness starts with one.